Welcome to the Dork Forest. Jackie and her pals will never bore us. Shameless confessions
about our obsession
will make us laugh and smile. So let's explore the Dork Forest and dork out for a while.
Hello, you are listening to the Dork Forest with Jackie Cation. I, coincidentally enough, am Jackie Cation. You know the websites, JackieCation.com, DorkForest.com, TheDorkForest.com, if you enjoy a determiner. The Dork Forest is a podcast that's on all the platforms, your iTunes, and then I populated over to YouTube. It's on Stitcher and Pandora and Spotify, but wherever you listen to podcasts, hopefully it makes it available in 1,000 different ways. It is November, and I'll also use this for December. This month, I ask that you not donate to the Dork Forest. If you want to support the Dork Forest, you can. You can order from Amazon using the tiny link that just takes you to Amazon and you order like normal. You can buy merch on the store page on JackieCation.com. You can go to the Bandcamp DorkForest.com and buy extra episode and stories and stuff if you like to do that. You can come and see me do stand-up comedy, at which my tour is all over JackieCation.com. And in November and December, I'm actually on the road quite a bit, including Minneapolis and Madison, Wisconsin. So those are my... But don't donate. Don't use the PayPal button to donate. And if you're doing it monthly, know that your donation will be going to the LA Food Bank. Because what I ask is that you don't donate to the Dork Forest in November and December, and instead donate to your local food bank. Go to feedingamerica.com if you are in the United States, put in your zip code, and it'll tell you your local food bank. Or you can just Google the words food bank and the name of your town. That happens all over the world. You can do that anywhere in the world. But just for these 2 months, just help people around you. That's all I'm saying. Other than that, we should do the credits. Yes, Mike Rickberg composed and sang that song with Sarah Cohen, his wife, and he will sing his version of the Mexican hat dance at the end of the program. Patrick Brady fixes this audio, and Vilmos still fixing JackieCation.com, bless his heart. Anyway, let's get into the show. Hey, it's Jackie Cation. I am in my living room with stand-up comic and accountant, it turns out.
Yes.
And fan of the Jackie and Laurie show, Mary Becquet. Welcome
Hello.
to the program.
Thank you.
All right. It's so you do stand up, yes. And people can follow you on Becquet SQ on Twitter, and then Mary B3, B as in boy, 3 on Instagram. And Becquet is spelled Bequet, very French.
Becquet.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Becq.
Right. Yeah.
Well, let's frickin' get that right before I start publishing things. Becq.
Yeah.
Becquet.
Yes.
There we go. And Mary.
Yeah.
Hello, Mary.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Excellent. We got all the business out of the way. Our lives are relatively complete.
Yes.
Let's talk about your dorkdom, which I don't know anything about. And, weirdly enough, it's Halloween Day that we're doing this.
Yeah.
Not going to come out till the end of November, but Halloween to some people is more than just a day.
Yeah.
It's kind of a season.
It's kind of like a pagan thing. Yeah, like what?
But like even the spooky stuff, like they'll watch monster movies. Have you ever been? You would maybe do really well on Monster Party.
Maybe.
It's a podcast with a stand-up comic writer guy, Matt Weinhold.
Oh, cool.
But he loves monster movies a great deal.
Oh man, yeah.
There you go.
Chinese vampire movies. That's a whole genre.
That's its own thing.
So hilarious.
So
yeah.
you lived in Singapore.
Yes.
And you became just dipped in Chinese ghosts and vampires and demons and all the things.
Yeah, because it's so cool. Get this. Okay, we have Halloween one day.
Yep.
Like, why we dress up, because the spirits can come out and like visit us and shit.
Okay.
Like cross the veil, if you will. And in Chinese culture, that's a whole month that happens.
Is it October?
It is 7th month. No, it's the 7th lunar month. So of course it moves around every year. You don't know when
of the
it is.
Moon. How spooky of them.
Yeah. And 7th month in Singapore, there's a whole ton. So there's a couple of aspects of it. You have to be careful about Chinese ghosts because they're way meaner than like our concept of ghosts.
They're not Casper the Friendly Ghost?
They're not at all.
And they are they vindictive? What's happening?
So many different kinds of vindictive.
So many different kinds of vindictive.
Yeah, like there's one ghost, it has needle hair and it will just stab you with its hair.
Oh, wow.
There's like, and I made my notes
There you
hold
go.
up. The most famous kind is called like a hungry ghost. Okay, when you say hungry in Chinese, it's a word that sounds like it feels. Hungry, just you say it,
Okay. I need some food.
right? And the
Yeah.
word for ghost, it also means demon. It's gui. So, gui. That's a hungry ghost. Yeah,
Hungry
gui.
ghost. Oh, wow.
So, like a hungry ghost is one that's upset because its living relatives are not feeding it, and you feed a ghost with love and remembrance.
You got to remember your
Yeah.
ghosts. And when you stop remembering I saw Coco.
Yeah.
Which is
It's similar,
it's a
like,
Mexican.
culturally
yeah.
similar.
And so you have to remember your ghosts.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they fade away. They fade away.
Yeah, and in China, they don't fade away. They
they
just
just
get
gotta
really pissed off. And their necks get really skinny. And Uruguay has a long, skinny neck like a giraffe.
Okay.
And so it wants to kill you.
Okay.
And take your spirit, and it also wants
See what it feels like to not be remembered. Huh?
Yeah,
How about
exactly.
that?
Yeah. So also the way that you feed them, like I did bring some show and tell shit because I just love this shit.
Yeah.
How they feed their ghosts. In addition, this is ghost money.
Oh, is that what that is?
This is ghost money.
Here's what's happening. The Chinese are everywhere, as you can imagine,
Right.
because they're very large, and they have bled their cultural stuff
Yeah.
into a lot of Southeast Asia.
Oh, really?
And
Yes.
and South Asia.
Yes.
And East and just Asia.
Right.
So where I get my nails done occasionally. This feels like a middle-aged white lady thing to say.
Yeah.
Vietnamese people, very lovely. I showed them my pictures of Vietnam. They were very pleased. Anyway, but they often have this money sitting around for their ancestors.
For their ghosts, yeah.
Yeah.
For their ancestors. And so the way that you actually give it to them is you burn it. You can
Okay.
sit it out there and they can like absorb the spirit of the money, but
Right.
like to pass it through the veil, you burn it. And during Ghost Month is really like you can't just rush out and burn this today.
No?
Well, it's just not the right time for it. You don't know, maybe
doesn't
somebody
feel
else would get
respectful.
that money.
Oh, right. You got to make sure. You got to do Venmo correctly.
Right, you have to wait till the portal opens.
Yep.
Like I do some jokes about this in my stand-up.
Yep.
Like a portal, demons and ghosts can walk among us, and
Yeah.
my punchline is, "Oh, you mean a portal opens up to Van Nuys?" That's the joke. I'm
That's
sorry
the
that
joke.
we're in Van Nuys.
We're in Van Nuys right now. How much money is this? Is this based on any kind of real money? Does it look like a denomination?
It looks like it's Hong Kong dollars, which is about US 7 to 1, but it is fake. So this is like billions of dollars. But the
Oh, okay.
ghosts need money to live well on the other side.
And they need fake money, and they
Right.
don't care.
Because if you're a Chinese person, you're not going
You're
to
not
burn
an
real
idiot.
money.
Yeah, you just want to be respectful. You don't
send
want to
it-
be a moron.
Yeah, you send
is
it
what I'm
over to
hearing.
them by burning it. So,
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
it's cool, huh?
That is cool.
So I keep some around, and I try to burn it during Ghost Month. And I was just like, I know
When
it's
is
kind of
Ghost
show
Month
and tell.
this year?
Well, this year it was. It's already gone.
Okay.
So
The month has happened.
It's usually generally in August.
Okay.
But it started a little bit later this year. I think it was like August, maybe 10th or something, to like September 10th. And then
Okay.
right in the
Ooh, it's like
middle.
Hanukkah.
Yeah.
That's nice.
In the middle, there's a big festival, and that's like the night. But during the whole month, especially in Singapore,
Yeah.
everybody's doing this shit.
Okay.
So everybody's burning money to their ancestors.
Right.
Like at each apartment block in Singapore,
Yep.
if you've never been there, they have a lot of public housing. They build these blocks of housing, and then everybody can buy one.
Right. Like people kennels.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very much. I saw them in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Similar, and so each housing block organizes their own kind of group stuff. Like
Oh,
there's
for
a,
safety wise.
right, and there's a special burner, safety wise, but also like safety from ghosts wise, because you want to just have all that shit contained.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because so everybody should burn their money in one space.
In one big,
Because then the ghosts will congregate in that one area.
exactly.
Okay.
To get their stuff, right?
Right.
They'll come over. So there's special incense burners. I just went to Singapore a couple weeks ago, and they're still set up. I guess maybe nobody wants to touch them because they're full of ash.
Right.
Yeah, and
right.
my Singaporean friends were always like, Mary, don't walk through that ash. Don't get it on your feet,
Don't get it on your feet.
right? Because ghosts will follow you home.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Right.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right.
And then they also burn like little replicas to their ancestors, to their ghosts,
Right.
of, like cars, shaving kits.
Oh, stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, just in case they need stuff
On the other side.
Huh.
That's pretty cool, huh?
That is cool. It's so that's where it all comes from. That's where the ghosts mostly come from.
Yeah, it's from actual dead people.
Dead people then being either disrespected or respected.
Right.
So are there good ghosts too?
There are some good ghosts, but those are called shun. They're called like more like spirits.
Okay.
Right?
The word ghost itself means sort of an angry spirit.
Like the Chinese word gui.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll show you a little picture of it. Like this is in my messy handwriting, but that's the word gui right there.
Okay.
It kind of, to me, it looks like there's a little ghost right there.
Oh, there you go. Sure.
It's a picture of like a cross thing and then a little poke. And like a lot of words.
Looks like a person and then like a little person next to it.
Exactly. Okay. So that word is gui, and it's disrespectful. It's mean.
Okay.
Like it means ghost. It can be translated ghost or demon.
Okay.
Like here's a good example. White people.
Yeah.
They call us gui.
Oh, do they?
They call us yang gui, Western demons.
Western demons. Well, I wonder why they came up with that word. Could it have been the British?
Could it have been colonialism?
Could it have been?
When I was living, I've also lived in mainland China. When I was younger, I lived there a year after I graduated from college.
Okay, why so much? What brought you over there?
I was a Chinese major.
Okay.
This is my Chinese English dictionary. Matthew's Chinese. This is like my Bible.
Right.
And when I was a Chinese major in the 80s, we didn't have the internet.
Right. No, you had libraries and books and encyclopedias and this type of thing. And microfiche. Yeah. Anyway, but where'd you go to college?
UMass Amherst.
Okay, so you went to Amherst. Did you grow up in Massachusetts?
No, I grew up in Texas, but Ucky family. So I was like, I know. I'll go to college some way far away.
As far away as possible.
Yes.
So fair enough.
Yeah.
It's I went just an hour and a half, which was far enough that my family never visited. So it was perfect. And so you go to Amherst, you study Chinese history and you sort of majored in Chinese.
Well, yes. At first, I was majoring in anthropology and archaeology, but I had a boyfriend. Okay, this is a good story.
Okay.
I had a boyfriend at the time.
Sure.
And I had to take a language.
Okay.
And so I have always been drawn to Chinese.
Right.
On the woo-woo side, maybe I was Chinese in a past life. I don't know. Mm-hmm. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to take Chinese. I see they offer Chinese. I've always wanted to learn it. And the boyfriend said, I think you have to be smart to do that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, what a dick.
Don't let the door hit you in the ass.
Exactly.
Holy hell.
So F you, baby.
But that
He's
will
gone.
kind of inspire you to make sure that you do it right. Because I went to college and I wanted to study classics because I had taken a lot of Latin.
Yeah.
And as my Latin teacher said when she heard that, she almost started crying. She was like, "You're not good at Latin." Anyway, but then I found out that you also had to take ancient Greek, and so I did not study classics because you had to be really smart.
It is really hard,
and part of it is not even smart. It's just a great deal of work.
Yeah,
it's a lot of work that even if you're just normal smart, if you worked really hard, you would get good at it.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a genius. You just have to be willing to do the work in some
dedicate
cases.
the time. That's what my Chinese professor told me too. He's like, Mary, you are not the most gifted Chinese student I've ever had, but you are the most driven.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So you wanted in. Wanted in on the world
I
of
love
China.
it because like they're little pictures, these words, and like my dorkdom sort of goes over to Chinese language, but like each little picture, like this is how you use this dictionary. You break the words down into what part of the picture is, and then you count the strokes in the word.
Really?
Yeah, like if we want to look up gui, I happen to know that gui is its own radical. Like the part of it that's called that drives the meaning of the word, it's called the radicals.
Okay.
Right? And gui, you count the strokes.
The radical is sort of the central part of the character?
It's like the meta key that holds the meaning.
Got it.
Right? So and let me count the strokes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So gui's got 10 strokes.
So you have to go into the back of the book and look up things that have 10 strokes?
Yeah, you look up radicals
of 10 strokes or more?
10 strokes.
Okay.
Yep. And then
how many strokes does that one have?
That's not well. That's with the man radical plus 9 strokes. So you get the radical, and then whatever's on top of that, you count those up in addition.
Okay.
I know it's crazy. It took me a lot of time to even prep for this because I'm like, oh yeah, that's how we do this. That's how I look that shit up. Okay.
Right.
So there's Gui. Look, the radical for Gui is 194.
Hang on a second. Let me get this audio equipment out of your way.
It's super nerdy, but if you're a nerd, you're like, oh, looking stuff up, matching it. Right? And then all the words that have to do with ghost.
194. What does the 194 mean?
Then you look it up over here.
On page
and all the words that have... I know this isn't too interesting for our listeners.
No, it's fascinating because the thing is nobody knows how to look anything up because it is all imagery.
So they're little pictures. So that's a little ghost, right? So under the radical 194, which is Gui, that's the master word ghost. There's all these words that have a ghost-related meaning.
Okay.
That have that radical in it.
So that's ghost, Gui, right there. Mm-hmm. And then there's a number 4.
Yeah, that's Gui plus 4 more strokes.
Oh, I get it.
10 strokes.
And then 2365. What does that mean?
That's the number in the dictionary that
you would look
is.
at.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is this a Chinese to English dictionary or is it a Chinese to Chinese dictionary?
This is the Chinese English dictionary. It's Matthew's Chinese English dictionary. It's the best one.
Right.
The only one.
I'm sure it's the only one. How many people are making dictionaries?
And this is the complex characters. So when Chairman Mao came in and they had the revolution in mainland China in the 50s, they simplified the characters.
Okay.
To make literacy more accessible to everyone.
Okay. Yeah.
So you have your simplified and your complex. This is the complex one. So we had to learn that.
You had to learn the complex. Now, does that make you relatively fluent in the simple as well?
I had to learn them too.
Yeah.
But honestly, my Chinese is really old fashioned because I learned it in the 80s.
Right.
Like I learned how to say stuff like "Long live Chairman Mao." It's just
nobody cares.
Nobody says that now.
Nobody's saying it anymore.
Right.
He
so
died.
It's antiquated. It's like, how art thou? You know.
Yes.
Like,
a little bit of that going on. But can you be understood?
Yeah.
In Singapore?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
They're just like, oh, interesting.
Yeah.
They look when you ask for, you're just like, I need to know where the bathroom is. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah,
can I get a
say
menu?
all that? Yeah, I can say all that.
You could say all that, and then, but do they look a little surprised at sort of the phrasing?
So they look surprised that Chinese is coming out of this white mouth.
First of all, shock of all shocks. They're like, oh my God, she knows any Chinese.
Right.
Good for her.
Yeah.
And then do people ask? I would imagine it would strike up conversations. They're like, can you have a conversation? Is what they probably the first question is.
I definitely can.
And then they are like, oh, how cool. You learned Chinese.
So then it's like, where'd you learn it? Oh, I learned it in college. Oh, this, oh, that.
Right. And then I come to Singapore on a regular basis because I love Singapore.
I actually do. And I've gone back a couple times during Ghost Month because I just love that stuff.
So it's a whole month of it.
It's a
30
whole
days.
Month.
And is it mostly this or is there more to it?
There's more. Like, okay, here's another thing they do. They give concerts for the ghosts. Big concerts outside. Musical concerts. Because why? Because ghosts like music.
Well,
Chinese ghosts do anyway.
I'm not here to say ghosts don't like music.
Ghosts also like bright colored lights like this, Jackie, in your living room.
Right.
Any ghost that might be hanging around or that belongs to you is going to be like, all right, this is cool. I like it. I'm happy.
We got a spinny ghost thing that fits on top of our lamp that makes our ceiling have ghosts go in a circle.
So these gutais, like I say, every apartment blocks will everybody pitches in money, and they sponsor a gutai, and there's certain singers who they are just gutai singers. So what kind of music do ghosts like?
Yeah, what do they? Is it a fast beat or
Chinese ghosts like fast beat? They like some rock and roll, but they also, of course, like traditional Chinese songs.
Oh, there you go. It turns out because they're old,
it's familiar to them. And the
Right.
first row of every seat of every concert, every gutai, there's red chairs in the first row.
Okay.
Don't sit in those because those are for our guests, the ghosts.
Oh, good Lord.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the Elijah role.
Yeah.
All right. So okay.
What does that mean?
At Passover, when you have, I am not Jewish, but I love all references to chairs that nobody uses.
Right.
Musical chairs. Just did an episode, talked about it briefly. So, but there's always a chair for Elijah at Passover because why not? Just extra chair.
Right.
So these are the chairs for the dead. They're the
Right.
chairs for the ghosts.
Right. And so my friends, when I would go to Singapore, I would be like, I've got 2 really good girlfriends there, and they know about my obsession with Chinese ghosts and good ties. And so I'd be like, okay, we're going to go to some good ties tonight. And they're like, I have to ask my mom. I don't even know. This is so old fashioned. I'm like, just do it.
Yeah.
And then so we would drive out to the various places
And watch other people's good
and watch
ties?
other people's good ties. Yeah, anyone can go.
Anyone can go? Okay.
But every time I would be there, someone would come up to me like, don't sit in the front row.
Oh, just to make sure you didn't.
Right.
Yeah, because you're super white.
Right.
And they're like, well, just so she knows.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I didn't stumble into a good tie.
Right.
I've come here on purpose, so I know. But it is nice. And who doesn't want an old lady to tell them what to do?
Right.
Everywhere you go,
It's
there's
so
always an
cool.
old lady who's a meddler.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, that's what we do. We get
Yeah.
old and we start meddling.
Yeah.
Making sure everybody's on the straight and narrow. So, well, that's cool. So the guatais are the big things.
Yeah,
They have
good.
music-
Yeah, good. That means song tie. That means stage. So it means like literally a concert. But
Yep.
it's a special Then the other big thing is tables of food, like altars. Same thing at work. Even like at my office, we all pitched in
Okay.
to do a ghost table.
Okay.
And that you only do like around the middle of the month.
Okay,
Because it's
so a
expensive
one-time
to do
thing.
it every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then you put dishes out, all the dishes out, and the ghosts come eat, but just the ghost part of the food.
Oh, and then everybody else gets to eat the regular food?
If you are into that, but I wouldn't.
Oh, really?
Well, you don't want ghosts coming anywhere. Like these Chinese ghosts, they're malevolent. Like, let's see, I wrote down, the hungry ghost, the Gui, that's the most prevalent one. Because
Right.
especially probably, I think in America, we'd have a lot of those. Okay, this one's called a Ba Gui, consumed by carnal lust, and they turn into dry, hot winds. Seems like we got a lot of Ba Gui here in LA.
Right, we call those the Santa Anas.
Right, exactly.
And, so,
Right? There's this one's called the Gudu Gui, venomous ghosts. They turn into insects during their afterlife.
oh,
Yeah.
so like real insects or
Yeah,
ghost
like
insects?
I would think ghost insects, like the hordes of insects, like the locusts. That's how I imagine them to be.
Okay. So there's
Yeah.
there's different kinds of ghosts, but they come out into, and so when you do the concert and you do I'm so lost. Here we go. Let me
Okay.
backpedal.
Okay.
In the middle of the month, you have a potluck.
Right.
Everybody brings food that no one's going to eat.
Exactly. It's for the ghosts.
It's for the ghosts.
Right.
And so you put it out.
Right.
How long does it stay out?
It usually stays out just one day because it'll spoil, you know,
Right.
and then people take them down. But for example, like I had to be very sneaky about taking pictures of them because my friends were like, oh, don't take pictures of that. A ghost will get in your camera.
A ghost will get in your camera, follow you home, and then all of a sudden there's ghost issues. Yes.
Right. Okay. So, and it sounds like I'm making fun of them, but I just love this superstition. And so that taught me how to like respect, okay, I won't take pictures
Yep.
because like they're gathering and eating that.
Yeah.
That's how you keep them, you feed them with your love, but also some special food once a year.
Right. So,
Yeah.
so, and then nobody eats it. And then is there any sort of ritual to get rid of the food?
Not that I know of, like,
Right.
or that was shared with me.
Yeah.
But other things like, cause so during Ghost Month, the concept is the ghosts are all around us all the time.
Okay.
But you just can't see them.
Right.
But like, for example, my friends, before they go in a room during Ghost Month, knock, 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 and then wait a minute.
Okay.
And
To
that-
clear the room
Exactly.
of ghosts. All right. My friend Karen Rontowski. Do you know Karen Rontowski?
Yeah, I listened to her thing too.
Yeah, Paranormal Karen
Yes.
is the name of her podcast. This is a big month for her.
Yes.
And she, I love. She did an episode of The Dork Forest. Her and Jen Kirkman, stand-up comic Jen Kirkman.
Yeah.
It was back many years ago, probably 10 years ago or so, when I would have two people on at a time. Jen and Karen did not know each other, but they were both into ghosts, UFOs, and monsters. Now, Karen comes into the house. I've known Karen Rontowski since 1994, and she is convinced that I am afraid of ghosts, and that's why I don't like to talk about them. I am not afraid of ghosts. I am unmoved by ghosts. Ghosts, I don't say that ghosts don't exist. I just, I don't have a lot of interest in ghosts.
Yeah.
And I believe that because of that, they don't care about me.
Maybe.
So we have just a distant politeness between me and the ghosts. But she was in this room, this very room, doing the Dork Forest with Jen Kirkman, still available, I'm sure, in the archives. And Karen Rontowski says, "Hey, what about we could see if there are any ghosts in this room." And I said, "Really?" And she said, "I know you might be scared, but I have an app." And I was like, "What's happening?"
There's an app?
Yeah, it was. It's called Ghost Radar, and it's $1.
All right.
And I was like, "No, fire up Ghost Radar."
I'm going to buy that
sure.
as soon as I leave.
Well, the weird thing is I don't know. I don't know if it's still available. It was $1, and it was 99 cents. I don't know why it wouldn't still be available. Why not? There's always somebody willing to spend $1, and it was just a radar. And so it would. You know how radar has that little boop, boop, and so we're at a table. All of a sudden, it start going boop, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, there's a ghost here." And then the app, a word will come up that will regard what the ghost has, what's happening with the ghost, and the word red showed up on the app. And then Jen Kirkman said, "I have a red sweater in my car." So I'm not making fun either, but that's all hilarious, and because I literally if there are lots of ghosts, that's fine. They're not taking up any space.
Yeah.
There's plenty of room in the world of elbow room when it comes to ghosts.
Yeah.
So what else is happening? So the celebration of ghosts in China is ongoing.
So this is these are Chinese traditional, I'd say cultural habits, right?
Right.
That have survived better in Singapore, actually, because after the revolution in China in the 50s, superstition was regarded as dumb.
Which there's a lot of purging.
Yeah.
Of many things.
Right. And so now people don't really celebrate Ghost Month as much inside mainland China. Although I did see the altars when I lived there in the 80s. I did see the altars and kind of go, "What's that?" And they don't like to say the word gui. It's very it's just like, why cause trouble, right?
Right. If you name them, they might show up.
Right. If they're real, why not just in case?
Yeah.
Don't run around saying that word.
Right. That word is weird. So
in with the red chairs in Singapore, they're like, "Don't sit there." They would do quote marks. Someone else is sitting there.
Right. Those are special. Yeah, them words for them. Fair enough.
Yeah. And there's some prohibitions in Singapore too that you shouldn't do in Ghost Month. Of course, it goes without saying, don't get married in Ghost Month.
Oh, don't get married in Ghost Month.
Don't do any work on your house. My girlfriend bought a new apartment, and she's like, "Yeah, my mom doesn't want me to start the work till after." So she waited.
Okay.
It's like when you're building stuff, they might mess around with it. If they're mad at you. If you got some vindictive ghost.
Right, especially if it's a place that you don't even know. That maybe they're like, you're interrupting my afterlife.
Right.
Yeah.
And then don't swim, because there's a kind of a ghost called a shui gui. That's a water ghost.
Don't swim.
It will pull.
Lori Kilmartin would lose her mind.
Yeah, it's a good thing she's not Chinese.
Yeah, don't swim in Ghost Month. Well, I'm making a note.
Unless you want to fuck with a shui gui. That's all I'm saying. It can try and pull you down.
Oh, really? All right. And she's like, well, maybe that's a better workout. She might think it's a better workout for her. And don't swim in Ghost Month.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
And there was another one I saw last night when I was just... Thank God for the internet now, because there's lists of Chinese ghosts. There's this one's called a Shi Qi Gui. Shi means smoke.
Yeah.
And Qi, that's your life energy. That's a great picture. Smoke your life energy, ghost.
Right.
Right. So don't want to fuck around with them. This one.
Oh, really? So that one will literally try to smoke your life energy.
They suck your, right?
Oh, very Dementor.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. There,
Yeah.
it says it eats human leftovers. And, and it smokes the chi of living people.
Okay. So not good.
Very
Not
much
good.
like a Dementor. That's kind of cool, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool.
Like to me, just to see and then there's ghosts with like giant mouths.
Yeah.
And there's another kind of ghost that lives under willow trees.
Just willows.
Yes. And it's a lady.
Weeping willows?
Yes.
Okay.
They're weeping ghosts.
Okay.
And it's a beautiful lady, but only from down to her neck. And then under the neck, there's just guts hanging out.
Oh, weird.
And she chases you, like that. And she
Oh,
cries all
interesting.
the time.
Oh, a lot of weeping.
Yeah, I have to be careful of those. That's a Singaporean.
That's Moaning Myrtle. Remember? I got a lot of Harry Potter inside my head. I got a lot of Harry Potter going on. And so what are the I will often see sort of altars with fruit and stuff and those seem to be ancestral rather than ghost related.
Yeah, and I think it's also maybe a little bit of Buddhism. Like that's offerings to Guan Yin or to the Buddha for just like
keeping it together,
alive, right?
Yeah.
And fruits are sweet, right?
Who doesn't love fruits? Fruit flies love them. Sometimes I go to my nail place and there's fruit flies.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I love Guan Yin. I've got tons and tons and let's say several statues of her in my house.
Yep.
And I just love her. She has a lot in common with like the Our Lady of Guadalupe. Right?
Okay.
Just like women pray to Guan Yin to get pregnant.
Okay.
And Guan Yin is like the woman's goddess. Like she's
okay.
cool with the chicks and like she helps us in
right.
And there's a lot
Very
of temples
supportive.
to Guan Yin and stuff like that. So I have a statue of Guan Yin in my backyard because it's big. I
Like
love
full on statue.
Yeah, I love Asian sculpture and just the lines. And so, but mainly statues of Guan Yin. And so I make offerings to her, but it's just booze. She likes a tipple,
You pour one out. Pour one out for your
I
friend.
put a glass. And
Little tiny.
A lot of times the wind just knocks it over. So then I'm like, oh, she drank it. I know, I'm maybe crazy.
You know what? It's Halloween, so you get to be whatever you want to be. And it's the Dork Forest safe space.
Yeah.
Sometimes I will get an occasional email from someone who goes saying, "No, I didn't like that one. I didn't care about that thing." And you're like, and that is why there are 700, 800 episodes.
Yeah.
You treat yourself right.
It's well, to me, it's super specific. Like with the Chinese culture, I found it really interesting that like there's these goddesses that are kind of similar with kind of the Virgin Mary. Although Guan Yin's not the mom of Jesus, right? In Chinese, like whatever you want to call it, iconography,
Right.
But and their ghosts are so malevolent. Like you just have to be careful, and it's a common thing of like be careful, right? And over here we're like, yeah, ghosts. Let's go ghost hunting. Let's fuck around with them. We're not really scared of them. We're more like,
we're
hey.
just like, hey, I hear that place is haunted. Let's go stay there overnight. Yeah, I'm not doing that either. Yeah, I'm not looking for trouble.
Well, yeah. And then kind of the other cool difference, I think I want to check the time here. Oh my God, we're almost done.
No, we're doing great.
We're doing good?
You're just 30.
Okay.
It's-
So it's Chinese vampires.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that because there are other sort of monsters, right?
Supernatural beings.
Okay.
Right. So vampires in Chinese culture are very different from our Western culture. Eastern.
European.
Exactly.
Okay, so they're not Draculas.
No, they're not.
That's what Deadpool calls vampires. He's like, I'm sick of you Draculas. And they're like, we're not called Draculas. That's one guy. Anyway, it's a Deadpool comic book. Anyway, but Chinese vampires are different?
So different. All right. So like if you think about the Twilight movies, right? Our vampires are like sparkly, beautiful. They live forever, and they have a certain wisdom, but they're also evil.
And they all want to date high school girls.
Right.
Weird.
But Chinese vampires are just dumb. They're so stupid. And there's a whole genre of movies, kung fu movies that are about Chinese vampires
Really?
and getting rid of them. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And when they kill you, they don't suck your blood. They suck your chi out, which
Right.
is just all your energy.
Your life energy, which is what essentially blood is.
That's true, too.
Right. So they're dum-dums?
So stupid because they're dead, right? And this is how they move. Like, you can't see me, but they hop up and down like bunnies. This is how they move. In the movies, that's how they move. If
So
they're chasing you, they're
They
just
chase you,
hopping.
they hop.
Hop like a bunny.
Oh my God, that's so weird.
So stupid,
That's
right?
awesome.
Right, and
Are some of the movies great?
they're just all hilarious. They've got subtitles. Like, I
Okay.
have a whole collection.
Oh, do you have them?
Yeah, they're so funny. They just make me laugh because Chinese kung fu movies. So the vampire movies are kind of a subgenre of Chinese kung fu and supernatural movies.
Okay, so kung fu is the
Kung fu fighting.
Is kung fu. Oh, there you go.
That's me pretentiously saying it in Chinese.
Well, live it up. I say it in Chinese if you can say it right. I will be saying French in the correct way. And so there's subgenres of kung fu movies that are just paranormal.
Right, exactly. Like, remember Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon?
Yeah.
Like, some of the gods were in there, the Taoist gods, and
Yeah.
they come in with a flashlight, and then they'll leave like that
Yeah.
in another flashlight. Guan Yin does that a lot too. Like, I like to get stuff mixed up in my brain because I have a great imagination. So
Yeah.
I'll always imagine them coming and going like that in a flash of light. And I love to see it in the movies because it's just dumb. And like, the laws of physics don't apply in Chinese kung fu movies, right? They'll
Right.
hop backwards onto a roof and stuff. The fighters will.
Oh my God. I wonder if the Monster Party guys have ever seen any of these.
I don't know.
Is there a Bela Lugosi of Chinese vampire movies?
Not that I know of.
Or is it just
They're
sort of
all just
casually
super cheap? Yeah, the plot is usually
Yes.
like
What is the plot?
like beautiful maiden
Sure.
in a village. All of a sudden, the village is plagued with vampires, but they're stupid, but they cause a lot of trouble, right? And the only way to there's a couple ways to escape them if you're running away from a Chinese vampire.
I need to know this.
Throw rice because they are so stupid they have to stop and count every grain of rice.
Oh, that's awesome.
So throw the rice.
Throw a pile
And then
of rice at
they
them.
just have to, they're so stupid, they have to stop and
First of all,
count them.
That's awesome. That's the greatest movie in the world. I definitely need to now Google Chinese vampire movies because that's outstanding.
Yeah,
okay.
There's a lot of them out there. And then, like I say, when they chase people, they hop like a bunny. That's why they told me this. I don't know if it's true, but that's why they say like a traditional Chinese house has that raised doorstep sill they have to step over.
Okay.
That's so vampires can't get in.
Oh, because they're dumb? They don't know how to raise their feet?
They hop. Yeah, well, they can only hop.
Oh, my God, that's awesome.
They hop like bunnies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they are so what we follow in a Chinese vampire movie, we're following clearly, why wouldn't we? Follow the journey of the good-looking young lady.
Right.
Who then realizes that they have a problem. They have an infestation of vampires.
Right. And so the only one who can kill Chinese vampires is a Taoist priest.
Oh, you got to get an exorcism.
Yeah.
To get rid of them.
Yeah.
So it's not holy water. It's not.
You can't do it by
stab 'em.
yourself.
You can't do it by yourself.
You need the power of the Tao.
Right.
And
You got to get a dude.
Yeah.
In a robe.
Right.
He's like, and do most of these towns, are they by a place?
No, they're like wandering. You have to go find one.
You're like, I hope the vampires don't
Somebody
decimate my
go
village.
find a Taoist priest. And then the Taoist priest will arrive and be super smart and usually very good looking.
Oh,
And
nice.
and they'll have also a stupid assistant that's going to fuck things up.
Okay.
And let the vampires loose after maybe they've already been caught.
Okay.
And so
Third act.
Yes.
And
they're usually the priest assistant is usually the comic relief of the vampire of the Chinese vampire movie.
Oh, that's awesome.
So the way that
I love this show. I love the Dark Forest. This is my favorite. Anyway, go ahead.
And so a lot of time, the way you neutralize the Chinese vampire is it's a Taoist prayer, and it's written on a thing,
A scrolly thing.
Yeah, like a piao, like a piao is like a piece of paper shaped like a ticket.
Okay.
A long skinny.
Right.
And they write the prayer on there. Then the Taoist priest has to get close enough to the vampire to stick it on its forehead.
Shut up.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
So then the vampire has the prayer over their nose and mouth, and they just,
Oh, my
they just wind
God.
down like that.
Yes. They have to literally lick it and stick it
Stick
to their
it
face.
to their forehead.
Oh my God.
And then what happens? The stupid assistant will be like, hey, is this on the right vampire? I better check it. And they'll take it off.
Oh no. You ever lose an assistant that way?
Many times.
That's how you lose an assistant. You're like, oh, is this the right? Does that have his name on it?
But it's funny because in our culture, vampires are like the more evil and killy, murdery type of.
Right.
Our ghosts will not usually murder you
No.
straight out. But in China, it's the opposite. Ghosts are going to murder the fuck out of you. So you better be careful and don't say the word ghost during Ghost Month in
Right.
Singapore.
Keep it together.
Just don't say it.
Matter of fact, and whenever I go into any sort of a Chinese situation, I try to avoid all things red.
Yeah.
I like to bring a red card and then run.
No, red's lucky, actually.
Lucky red door. You got you get red coins. You get red ribbons on coins.
Chinese brides, their wedding dress is red.
My wedding dress was red. I got
Awesome.
married in a Chinese restaurant.
Look at
I got
you.
married in a dim sum.
See, you know it.
Oh, matter of fact, turn around. That's our wedding invitation.
Oh my God, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
It looks like it says shui. That looks like water. Or what is that, the happiness one? I can't
think
read
it's
it
like
from here.
forever.
Oh, young. Okay, yeah.
So
Forever.
And it's one of those things where you're like, don't get a tattoo just in case it says I fuck bats.
Yeah,
or whatever.
Because I'm so good at Chinese,
I'm
having
so good
spoken
at
there for 30 years and carry my fucking dictionary
got
with
your
me.
dictionary
but
with
I can't
you.
even read it across the room.
No, it's it's got a ribbon across it. You know how we got married that year that people saved their invitations and put them in a little shadow
What
box.
year did you guys get married?
2006.
Oh, so sweet.
I don't know if everyone was doing it, but we were. And we got married in the dim sum restaurant in downtown Los Angeles.
That's cool.
Called Empress Pavilion. Used to be open.
I've been there many times.
It closed, and then I guess it reopened, and it might not be as good, but it used to be amazing.
It was in that little Far East pavilion, the Far East shopping
Crazy
center.
shopping mall.
I loved that
That
place.
mall was amazing.
Yeah.
You could get the greatest stuff, and but the crazy thing is it seated like 400 people, right? So we got married in one half of it because there were 200 people at our wedding. Because when you get married in your late 30s, early 40s,
Everybody's like, holy shit, I'm
yeah,
going to see this.
I gotta see this. And then, but the other, and I wore a red dress, and the other half of the dim sum restaurant was a Chinese wedding, and the woman getting married was of Chinese ancestry, and she
Yeah.
wore a white dress.
Oh, get the
So we
she was like,
co-opted,
yeah.
and we both co-opted each other's things. I bet you my dress was cheaper.
Yeah.
Because I used a bridesmaid's dress.
That's cool. I
great.
bought my wedding dress used, and I sold it again after I got married.
I don't know where the hell mine is, but I hope I'm not keeping it because there's no reason to.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's a one-off. You
Yeah.
know, it's good.
That's what I think, and it's just a dress. It doesn't. To me, it doesn't have any intrinsic. To me, it didn't have any intrinsic meaning. Like the relationship is more important.
Right. Yes. I hope so. Give me too. And but that's fascinating. So there's ghosts and there's vampires.
Yeah.
Do they have werewolves?
Not that I know of.
Interesting.
Yeah, not that I know of. And the vampire, I think the other thing I wanted to say about vampires is the way they get the hop motion like a bunny.
Yeah.
The theory is that back in the day, so like in ancient China, let's say, pre 1800s.
Sure.
The way that dead people were transported was on a yoke across. If you had to carry a dead person from one village to the other, somebody would have a yoke and they'd tie the corpses to it, and the person would walk, the living person, and the corpses would appear to bounce up and down.
Oh, which is where the bouncing came from.
That's the theory of
Right.
why they move that way in the movies.
Okay. That's interesting. That's I want there to be a comic book series about a vampire hunter.
Oh my God. That would be
in
so
China.
funny.
Just a Taoist priest
Yep.
who just wanders around looking for vampires to write notes to and stick
Right.
to their face.
Prayers.
And it's a prayer.
It's
but
a
just
Taoist
like,
prayer of like, please go
bam,
away.
please go
Yeah,
away.
And that's
Please-
how you do it.
Exactly. And then and handing out rice so that they can be do they talk? Do the vampires talk?
Yeah, they do, but just like very, they're
there's-
slow because they're dead.
Yeah, right. They're not super bright. Do the ghosts talk?
Me kill you. The ghosts mainly wail and scream and have stuff like that.
Oh, a lot of shouting.
Now, there's also a certain type of ghost. I want to make sure, because I made this on my notes. Okay, so old sayings in Chinese only have 4 words in them usually. They're called chongyu. It's a linguistic feature where there's a million chongyus, and they're like the old sayings about stuff.
Okay.
Right? So, like, there's a saying for mediocrity, like if something's so-so,
Yeah.
the chongyu is mama hoo-hoo, and that means horse, horse, tiger, tiger. It means kind of like it can't decide what the fuck it is, right? Mama hoo-hoo. How's the food? Mama hoo-hoo. Right? So when you say those forward sayings, it's like us quoting a movie or something.
Okay.
Right? It's like everybody knows mama hoo-hoo. Oh, yeah, I got you. Right?
Yeah.
Or like a liar, you say, hu shuo ba dao. It means they're lying down 8 roads. They're telling fibs down hu shuo. That means...
They're chatty magoos all over the place, and it's all full of shit.
Right, exactly.
Okay, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a couple about ghosts that I thought were real funny. Okay, there's this kind of ghost. Okay, there's a kind of ghost called a chang. Mm-hmm. Right? And that is a ghost who is like a procurer, like a pimp.
Oh, there you go.
And it's a procurer of death. So it's like if Jeffrey Dahmer's Dahmer,
yeah.
a type of car.
Yeah.
Dahmer's victims died, and
Yep.
then they had that guy turned into a ghost and went and solicited other victims. Hey, there's a guy. You should come to this guy's house, Jeffrey Dahmer.
Because
Come
he
on.
kills good.
Right.
And wow.
Right. But
So they're
he's
murder
serving-
victims
right.
who will lead other victims to the murderer?
Exactly. And that's called a chang. But a chang does it for a tiger.
Oh. Which, you know what? That's not murder. That's food. That's
But he goes and convinces, hey, let's walk out to this tiger preserve. It's safe. Come on.
Come
right?
on out. I got a tiger I work for.
And so when someone's an asshole, that forward saying is basically for a tiger being a chang, right?
Oh.
You're being a chong for a tiger. So you're leading people to their own deaths.
Oh, right.
You asshole.
You're an asshole because you're a chung.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's I thought that was kind of
That is
cool, like a
great.
procurer.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? And the other one was the paranormal.
Yeah.
It's called ghost axes and spiritual work. Ghost axes and spiritual work. That's how they call the paranormal. It's called
I see. Oh, so the
Gui Fu
axes,
Sheng Gong. Yeah.
the axes are the things that are violent.
Yes.
And the spiritual work is just
work.
It's just
That's
it's just
the
spiritual things.
Paranormal.
And that's the word for paranormal.
Yeah.
What is it again in Chinese?
It's called Gui Fu Sheng Gong.
Okay. Wow. Super fun.
Yeah, so they have all these little sayings about the ghosts too, but I thought the one about the tiger, Wei Hu Zuo Chang. Oh, great. Yeah, so you're just a whore. That's kind of, to me what it means.
It's just, we're a pimp, I guess, right? And what are you doing? So you're going to Singapore to sort of, for Ghost Month and to see this. Is there any of that going on in Los Angeles?
I don't know. There's the Buddhist temple out in, it's near Alhambra.
Okay.
That's the one where Al Gore did the campaign thing years and years and years ago. I forget the Chinese name of it, but there's one of the biggest Buddhist temples in this country is out in Alhambra.
You know what else is in Alhambra?
What?
Really good Chinese restaurants.
Fantastic
Chinese
The
food.
best dim sum is out there now, I think.
It's so true. My acupuncturist now lives out there. Well, she's always lived out there.
Yeah.
She used to have her acupuncturist was in Tarzana.
Yeah.
I live Van Nuys, not far from Tarzana.
Yeah.
So now she's retired because she's a 75-year-old Chinese lady.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, you can come to Alhambra. And I was like, but I don't want to. And she said, we can go to lunch. And I was like, Okay, I'll come.
It's a long drive. But like, what's your favorite kind of food out there?
Well, she hasn't done it yet. I've been out twice, but she hasn't had time to go to lunch. So I've gotten one acupuncture, and then other times I just go for the herbs.
Yeah.
And because she has access to some awesome Chinese mushrooms.
That's cool.
That are good for you. They're not woo woo.
Do you stew them in that Chinese stew pot?
No, she did give me stick tea one time, dirt tea, and I was like, Andy won't let me make it in the house.
Yeah, it stinks
so
it's
bad. Stinky magoo. I can't have it. So I just have the pellets and stuff. Oh, look what's happening!
Oh, nice.
My
there's plenty of wear left in those yet. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm losing slippers here. Anyway,
ghost.
The ghost knew that I was talking about it. So is there? But do you have a favorite Chinese restaurant down there?
I don't, because I haven't been. So I lived in LA for a long time, and then I moved to Texas to take care of my mom.
Right.
And
where in Texas?
San Antonio.
Okay.
And then, I love it when you and Lori Kilmartin talk about LOL.
The LOLMO. Remember the LOLMO.
Right.
They're leaving money on the table, you guys.
Right.
Anyway.
And the River Center. So that's where I came up as a comic, and those two clubs hosting there and stuff. Although they would never put me with a woman headliner.
No. Did you know why? Because they had already covered the woman card.
Exactly. That's what I won't say his name, but the manager of River Center would be like, "Oh no, you can't." I'm like, "Could I host for her?" And he'd be like, "Oh no, you can't have two women on a show."
We're gonna murder you and send a ghost toward you, sir. That is currently an attitude that continues to exist.
Yeah.
And you're like, "Hey, dum-dums."
That's 1950s thinking.
It doesn't matter.
And he was like, "No, everybody knows that. Only one woman on a show."
Yeah, and say the words "only one black person on a show," and then see how you feel about yourself, you goofy Goonie bird.
Right. Also, maybe a type of demon. We don't know.
Right. Anyway, so do you live here now?
Yeah, I came back to LA about 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
Because my mom passed away. Yeah, she's my ghost. But I feed them and stuff.
Yeah.
My mom, my dad, my sister all passed away. So I like to, it helps me remember them.
It really does, quite honestly. And it's nice because I remember, I don't do any of that, but I have pictures of my grandmother and
cool.
and my mother and my stepmother and everybody. People die, you guys. I'm not particularly.
I'm just saying you have to take care of them after they die,
exactly,
or you could still disappoint them. Your choice.
You don't have to be super sad about it forever, but you can remember the good times and have a good time remembering the good times. How about that? My sister-in-law just sent me a picture of my grandmother and her first husband. My grandmother's first husband was a guy she met on the boat over.
Cool.
And they got married it was an arranged marriage. And I asked her one time when I was a kid, I never really met I met my grandfather a little bit, but he died when I was 3 or 4. Mm-hmm. So one time I was asking my grandmother about my grandfather, and she said, "I don't like to talk about dead people who I loved. Ask me about my first husband." So I was like, "What?" And I did not, because I was so shocked, and I was a child. But this picture of her and her first husband, he just looks much older than her. And he has a crazy ass mustache. But it was also 1925 or 1920. And so I was like, okay, whatever. And, but I do like to remember the people who passed away that were funny and were nice.
That were wonderful. So when I lived in Singapore the first time, my mom and my sister were still alive. I lived there in 2009 to 10.
Okay.
A year.
Not
I was on
just 10 years ago.
Yeah. I was on a contract to do my finance thing that I do in my day job for money. And so I was I was living there, and I had met these friends, and we came to August, and they were like, "Okay, there's a few things you need to know since you're living in Singapore.
Right.
We're starting this ghost month, but don't say the word ghost out loud." And I was like, "What?"
And
I was
you were like, "I am so in."
Yeah, and my dad was my only ghost at the time, and I'm like, "Can my dad come? Would I see him?" And my friends were like, "No, because the ghosts are attached to your address." It was so specific.
That's awesome. That's hilarious.
Right? And so even when my friends would take me to the Guanyin Temple, even I just went this time to say prayers there, and they were like, Mary, when we get to the temple, remember, say, I'm Mary Becquet. This is my address.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I'm sending a shout out to my dad.
Right.
Yeah.
And you say it to like all the different directions and stuff. But so like they were like, no, your dad's not going to come here, but you can send him stuff.
Oh, there you go.
Through the portal.
They have a nice postage situation.
Yeah.
And not too bad on the customs. As long as you fill out the right paperwork.
It was
it'll be
really
fine.
cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
That's very sweet.
And so then that's when I started getting ghost money. There's all different kinds of ghost money. Like this slick stuff. This is Hong Kong. I bet. Yeah, it's made in Hong Kong. It doesn't say that. I got it off of Amazon.
Sure.
Yeah. But like it's funny because on the front it says Tian Di Yin Hang. That means Heaven and Earth Bank.
Oh, the Heaven and Earth Bank. There you go.
And then on the back it says Hell Bank. So I don't know.
Oh,
maybe
yeah, it does.
people didn't
Hell
talk
Bank
to
note.
each other who designed each side.
Wow. They're
that they
just
would
like
have the
depends.
consistent translation.
It's like you I don't like. I'm lighting it on this side.
Yeah.
And sending it up into the world. Well, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So they do food. They do music.
Right.
Do they do dances and stuff like other?
Well, at the Good Ties, I saw people dancing, right? So it's a celebration for the living people and the
dead,
dead.
and they're dead that they can talk to.
Yeah. And so they say that, what you have to be careful of so the happy ghosts go to the Good Ties. And that's how I'm keeping if my dad was Chinese and lived in Singapore, I'd be keeping him happy with the Good Tie and be like, hey, this is for you. And the ghosts are like, oh, we won't cause any trouble as long as we're happy.
Right. As long as we're happy, as long as you give us a shout out every year for a month. It feeds them for the whole year.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
But
that's pretty great.
The scary ones are the hungry ones that nobody's remembering. Right? Mm-hmm. Or the ones that did bad stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, Donald Trump. Right? Donald Trump. That's going to be a bad ghost.
Did he die? Oh, I'm sorry to sound so eager.
But I don't know what kind of ghost that guy's going to be. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's not going to be good at business. That's what we do know. We do know it's going to be filing for bankruptcy on a regular. These banknotes are just going to go right through him, and he's going to be like, I'm going to need more. What a piece of shit.
I was talking with my husband about this yesterday, and I was giving him the exact kind of ghost, and he was like, oh, I think I said this one causes confusion, a Megway, a trickster ghost.
Okay.
Causes confusion. He's like, oh, like Nancy Pelosi. Anyway, so we kind of assigned.
We're going to need a little more direction from you, Pelosi. And she's like, I'm doing due process. If we don't do it right, it won't work. And you're like, well, it's working very slowly and I don't enjoy it.
Exactly.
And but what else do you have written down? We're down to the last 5 minutes.
Okay.
By the way, I am talking with Mary Becquet, and it is BECQUET, and it is Becquet SQ, which is the little slogan for Singapore, on Twitter, and it is at Mary B3 on Instagram.
Thank you. Oh, okay. This one, that's me.
Yep.
This one, it's another Chengyu, which is the 4-word sentence. Mm-hmm. Shen Chu. So Shen, that's the spirit, the good spirit. And Chu, that means going out the door. So Shen, going out the door. And Gui, that's a ghost. Mu, I had to look that up, means death.
Oh.
All right. So when the spirits are going out the door and the Gui are out there giving death, that is evil practices.
Oh, someone's up to no good?
Yeah, that's like the dark arts.
Oh, literally, specifically the dark arts. Like that is. Does it refer to a person who's doing it, or just the whole practice in itself?
It just means practice itself. So it would be probably a person doing it, but you might have like a gui that gets powerful. There's some famous ghosts in Chinese literature too.
Oh, really?
I didn't write down how to say. I can't remember how to say the whole one. But one of the most famous ones is called the White Bone Demon.
Okay.
And that's in a Chinese novel called Journey to the West.
Okay.
That's the story about how Buddhism was brought to China.
Okay.
And there's a magic monkey in it. Have you ever heard of the Monkey King?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. So there's a Monkey King that's a famous like literary character. He's a trickster.
Okay.
He has a stick, a cudgel,
Sure.
that he can make as small as a needle and put it behind his ear, and can also get big, and he'll fight with it.
Right.
And so that's the Monkey King.
Right.
And there's a demon in that book called the White Bone Demon, and that was the name that they gave to Chairman Mao's wife.
Oh my God.
That was they used to call her that, the White Bone Demon. And
I wonder, bitches, man, what are you gonna do? Anyway, Jesus Christ.
And she, I remember like seeing a movie about this book, and she would scream, "Jiao Ming!" It means help.
Okay.
Save me, like Jiao Ming. And so the White Bone Demon is famous for that cry, and for being just because you go
And
help
bringing
her.
Buddhism.
Yeah, well, she was trying to prevent Buddhism. Like she was a bad guy, so she'd be like, "Jiao Ming, save me! You come over there. Oh, I'll help you."
Oh,
You're
and then
dead.
she gets them.
Yeah.
Have you ever read that book?
All the flesh off their skin.
Oh.
Leaves the white bones. No, I have not. I watched the Chinese TV program.
I'm not judging
Many
you.
times.
I'm over here rereading a lot of nonsense. So, wow. That's cool. I mean, that sounds like, so there's a TV show, an adaptation.
Yeah, and it's episodic. So in every one, there's like the good, in this case, a Buddhist monk.
Sure.
There's like a chef, like a cook guy who's kind of a tough but normal looking guy. So there's the monk in his robes, the normal looking chef guy, a pig, an animated pig.
Okay.
And then the Monkey King.
And the Monkey King.
Yeah.
And they're all trying to stop the White Bone Demon from causing troubles.
Well, the monk is trying to bring the sutras back from India.
Okay.
And then the monkey and the pig and the chef are all helping him. There's helpers. And then they run into all kinds of obstacles, of which
That
White Bone Demon is one. But every week, a different obstacle.
Wow, it's Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's Monster of the Week.
Yeah, it's called Journey to the West. That's how it's
Journey to the West. That's how it's
normally
known.
Translated.
That is awesome. Mary Becquet, let's say it's an hour.
Okay.
I think we did it.
We have. Thank
This
you
was
so much.
great. Everybody, find her, watch her do stand up. She's on Instagram at Mary B3 and on Twitter at Becquet BECQUETSQ. Thanks for doing the show.
Thanks for having me.
And Rangers, you know the rules out there. Take care of each other.
My hat, my hat, my hat. They're dancing around my hat. My hat, my hat, my hat. Well, what do you think of that? If it looks like a Mexican hat dance and it sounds like a Mexican hat dance, it's most likely a Mexican hat dance. So take off your hat and let's dance.
Yay! Oh my God. Why don't we just call that as the end of the show?